Thanks for joining us for the Hospitality Hangout, a hospitality-focused podcast where the founders at Brandon share their insights and bring technology and innovation leaders that are making things happen in the industry we love. My name is Jimmy Frischling, otherwise known as the Finance Guy. I'd like to introduce my partner, Mr. Michael Schatzberg, also known as the Restaurant Guy.
And thanks for that kind introduction, Jimmy. And to those listening, feel free to call me Shatsy. Together, we're the personalities behind Branded Hospitality Ventures. We work at the intersection of hospitality, technology, innovation, and capital. And Jimbo, we've got a special edition today because we are live from Houston, Texas. And the Texas Restaurant Show with the Texas Restaurant Association. I gotta tell you, Jimmy, they do everything bigger and better in Texas. And I'm not just saying that. We know that for a fact because we've been here for a couple of nights now, and everything is rocking here. The drinks are bigger. The hotels are bigger. The airport's bigger.
The pool's bigger.
The show is bigger. The pool, by the way, is in the shape of the state of Texas.
Yes.
It's a lazy pool. Jimmy, perfect for you.
There's a toll booth in the pool. The pool's so big.
Absolutely. There's no
you gotta pay a toll.
No toll booths in Texas, Jimmy. No toll. Very business friendly here. No toll booths here. But I gotta tell you, we are having a great time here. I gotta tell you, I don't even mind the heat, Jimmy, because I gotta tell you, I think you lost 10 pounds yesterday.
I lost 10 pounds getting from the airport in our Uber to the hotel.
Jimmy's new Ozempic is he comes to Houston, spends a week in Houston. That's his Ozempic.
Y'all are 10 shades darker too.
Yeah, I love it.
I play poker a lot. I don't win a lot because I got a lot of tells. And for those of you who tuned in or are seeing this, or maybe I am wearing the TRA, the Texas Restaurant Association hat. Shatz is wearing one too. Gifts of our friends. And I'm thrilled to be strutting this, and I'll be wearing this for the rest of the show. Listen, normally on the road, our long-time listeners know, we grab a few guests from the floor, we talk shop, but not today. No, today we're changing it up because we are lucky to have Joe Monastero and Ben Knorr from Texas Restaurant Association. Not only are they responsible for this incredible show, but they are fellow podcasters. They're fellow co-hosts. They got their own incredible show at the table with TRA. So we've got dueling podcasts today. All right.
I don't think it's ever been done in podcast history that two podcasts are being recorded simultaneously and we broadcast out.
Making history.
We're making things. Yeah, this is
once again. I said to Joe Rogan, you know what I'm saying, Joe. Go blink yourself. No, sorry, Joe. I'm kidding, Joe. Okay, but we do have dueling podcasts, friendly dueling podcasts. So Joe, Ben, you guys, I'm sure, have your own flow. So let's let you guys take the lead. And please give us a quick background about yourselves and, of course, the TRA.
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. Like I just mentioned, I think we are making history. I've gotten to know you guys over the past few months, and it's been an honor and an experience, and I'm just happy to be here. So I'm Ben. I'm the Director of Partnerships for the Texas Restaurant Association. I oversee any partners that we bring on board to our members. I help produce the show. Like Jimmy, you mentioned, we run our own podcast at the table with the Texas Restaurant Association. We have our own banter, we have our own good times, but I think this may be one of the more fun times. We're only 30 seconds in, so.
Oh no, we're definitely going to have some more fun.
6 laughs already.
We're only on page.
By the way, that means we only have downside from here. Okay, only downside. We should do a George Costanza right now and just say, thanks everyone for joining. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys for having us. It's really great. And Joe, how about yourself, sir?
Oh no, it's a pleasure to be here. And this is definitely going to be trailblazing history, and we love doing that kind of stuff down here in Texas. So we're glad you guys came down and we could do this. I'm Joe Monastero. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the Texas Restaurant Association. We are, by any number of metrics, the largest restaurant association in the United States.
Is that breaking news?
You heard it here first.
No, breaking news it is, but these numbers I'm about to share with you are breaking news because
this is good.
Jimmy,
Joe with the facts.
The state of Texas, as of the end of 2022, is back on top and running the table with 55,000 restaurant units across the state, 1.4 million employees, and we're still looking for more. And set a record $90 billion in sales last year, and that's
what was that, $90 billion with a B?
With a B,
Jimmy.
Yes, with a B.
I gotta tell you,
$90 billion.
I went with it, Joe. I went that way too, Chelsea.
Yeah.
$90 billion.
That is a 20% increase from where we were pre-pandemic. So, we were closed for a hot minute, but when you get the opportunity to reopen May of 2020 and start the rebuilding process early, this is where you end up. So we are the only state right now in the United States that is net positive for growth this year. And we couldn't be happier to have you guys down here with us to have some fun and show everyone how it's done in Texas.
I love it. Listen, as New York City restaurant owners and operators ourselves, We know how important it is to lean into a trade organization, an association, someone that's really an advocate and given a voice to sometimes and to the smaller restaurant guys. Because the big groups sometimes they can do it themselves, but the smaller guy doesn't have a voice. So for we got listeners, we've got 8 listeners all over the country. 4 of them are here in this office right now with us doing this.
Staggering
so
numbers.
For the other 4 listeners that aren't listening right now, tell us a little about TRA. I mean, and the initiatives that Texas Restaurant Association is doing, not just for the operators here in Texas, but you guys are doing stuff on a national level. It's unbelievable. So give us a little bit about what you guys are doing there.
So then let me start with the fact that, of all the things that we do, there's sort of a yin and a yang to everything. So all of the great work that Ben does to bring us partners and benefits and services that help our operators put more to their bottom line, increase their margins, that's one part of what we call the TRA engine. The other part of it is our advocacy
engine, right?
Vroom, vroom.
So you can also put it, Ben and Joe have to go make the money so that Emily and Kelsey can reinvest it in the industry. And that is really
spend all the money.
Yes, in the best way possible.
In the best way, most fiduciary, responsible, efficient way possible.
She is very frugal about how she spends her money.
Let's be clear. So Emily, our president and CEO, along with Kelsey, our chief public affairs officer, lead an advocacy team that are just absolutely incredible. And the work that we've been able to accomplish, you got to remember, Texas is a little different in many, many, many ways. One of them is our legislature only meets once every 2 years. It is a 5.5-month marathon on top of a marathon on top of a triathlon. And they practically live at the Capitol during that period of time because all law for 2 years is made in those 5 months. And our last 2 sessions have not only been record-breaking for us as an association and for the things we've been able to do in Texas, but Texas is a bellwether state. What we can do here, if it works here, it can work anywhere. And so things like alcohol to go becoming permanent, which we did 2 sessions ago. Things like our third-party delivery partnership bill that established sort of a bill of rights between customers and restaurants and full transparency on the part of the third-party providers. And was done in collaboration with them. It wasn't an us versus them. We went in together and said, look, let's do this. And so they worked with Emily and Kelsey and our team, and they got that done.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I'm a huge Dorito fan, and I know that Cool Ranch Doritos, they never came to New York. They tested them here first, and it was only after they were absolutely embraced here that, Jimmy, that we got Cool Ranch Doritos in New York. So to your point, if it works here, it works. What's good in Texas is good everywhere. Cool Ranch Doritos are delicious.
I was gonna tell you, it's not, you haven't embarrassed me yet today, until just now. Of all the stuff Joe just went through, of all the facts, Joe was dropping knowledge. Yeah. And you went with Cool Ranch Doritos.
But let's be clear. At the end of the day, Shotzi's staying on brand.
Yeah. He's staying on brand.
We know what to expect.
Branded hospitality for a reason.
Yes.
But Joe, you also forgot to mention one of our initiatives that we've implemented in the past year is we partnered with a company, Adesso, who has raised close to $50 million in ERC credit back to our Texas restaurant. So this is about my world a little bit, and the partnerships that I provide and the benefits, that's an incredible number just to even think about. It's money on the table that we found someone who can provide back to our members that people may not know.
That's a great point.
And when you talk about the bellwether state idea, if it works here, it can work anywhere. Our other partner state restaurant associations that have also partnered with Adesso have helped to drive in total almost $300 million across the United States. I mean, that's not nothing. But you also asked about the federal side of things. So obviously we work really closely with the National Restaurant Association, or it's sometimes referred to the other NRA.
Yeah.
And we have one of the largest congressional delegations. So when we can work with them and help to drive things in a positive direction, it makes a difference. The best example I can give you is anyone who thinks back to the pandemic beginnings with the first Paycheck Protection Program bill, it came out and it was done so fast. There were different pieces of it that just didn't work. And we got feedback immediately from our operators going, how am I supposed to keep my doors open when I can only use the money for this, but not for that, or this percentage of this and this percentage of that? And so we got with one of our freshman congressmen, Emily and Kelsey sat down, had a conversation with him, explained it really clearly, and he goes, we can do this. So he very wisely got a colleague of his who was a freshman from Pennsylvania, the other side of the aisle, and they went in with a bipartisan skinny bill. What's a skinny bill? It's less than 10 pages. They got this thing passed in 4 weeks. We obviously helped push the Texas delegation, the NRA partners of ours, and their legislative team worked with the rest of the country, and it was a quick, simple, easy, common sense bill. But on the same day we went to 50% in Texas, we helped them pass federal law that helped every business owner that had a PPP loan actually make it work even more efficiently for them to stay open at a time when people didn't know what the next day was going to bring, right? And so we definitely make sure our voices are heard. We say we are your voice because we take every one of those 55,000 operators' needs and make sure that they're heard, whether it's at the local level, the state level, or the federal level. That's that 3-in-1 benefit you get when you're a member of the association.
Well, I was going to add the floor, the exhibition hall, the whole show, which is really right down
You
there.
can see it.
You can see it right down there.
Yeah,
It is really some amazing stuff. But I have to tell you, and I walked the entire floor yesterday, the most impressive thing I saw was actually one of your guys' booths. And it was the one that listed the accomplishments and the achievements of the TRA. And one that you didn't even mention that I think is critically important is the regulatory consistency.
Yep.
Because I really feel, and again, I'm making a plug for you guys here, but I have to tell you, I'm a native New Yorker, born and raised. I got a tattoo, which I won't show you in this podcast. You're a New Yorker, babe. You're a New Yorker. Okay.
You see Joe's
Jersey. But I'm wearing Texas. Right now, I've got a native New Yorker. But I will say that what you guys do on the regulatory side and the relationship that you as the state organization has with the locals, municipalities, you have Houston, the Hospitality Alliance show up. That is a relationship that I really, any association out there, that's how it has to be. It's got to be better together. It's got to be working together. And again, I take great pride in where I'm from, but I'm super impressed by everything you guys are doing. And I hope New York and others actually lean in and realize how effective an organization can be when you guys work together and whatnot.
Well, and our hope is that this regulatory consistency bill, it's been 10 years in the making to finally get it across the line and have it be as comprehensive as it is was no small feat. And yes, the TRA did lead the charge in that. Kelsey and Emily brought together every one of the business associations in Texas in one coalition, got the right sponsors, kept working on it. And at the end of the day, we talked a bit about this last night. Not everyone realizes just how many different ways this is going to benefit them. But everything is bigger in Texas. We've got 254 counties, over 1,200 municipalities, and we are the world's 9th largest economy. You can't operate with a million different sets of rules and standards.
Someone last night, they said, "What do you get 800 different labor laws within the state of Texas?"
I'll do you one better. Just think about the city of Dallas, okay? Not the giant DFW metroplex. Just the city of Dallas proper sits across 4 counties. So prior to the regulatory consistency bill, if you were a multi-unit operator just in the city of Dallas, you could have restaurants in Dallas County, restaurants in Collin County, all with different health code standards, all with different labor laws, different fees. And so all of this streamlined it. And actually, there's a second bill that the team got passed that is kind of the kitchen cleanup bill. So the Restaurant Cleanup Act mirrors regulatory consistency, but it goes a step further. So things like your liquor license, you pay the state for that. And yes, when you originate it, there's a local fee. But every year you renew it. If the city's not doing anything for it, why are they supposed to get money, right? And so at the end of the day, the cities are benefiting from taxes. So they understood that this is something that ultimately makes it better for everyone. And we're excited because once this goes into effect, is when we'll really see the long-term impact of just how beneficial this is going to be, not just for restaurateurs. This was done for all business operators across the state.
I think it's great. And again, it was really good. And it was a great event last night with the award show. Listen, a podcast favorite one-liner of ours is that the only industry to embrace tech other than the hospitality industry slower, we like to say, is coal mining. So we're here in Texas. The bar, first of all, you're the largest oil mining state in the country. Coal mining has been taking place in Texas ever since the 1800s. So the irony of that one liner here in Texas is not lost on me. However, my real question to you gentlemen, is that the case? How are Texas operators embracing tech? From the mom and pops, the independents, the SMBs, up to the franchisees. How is everyone board? Are they on board? Are they jumping on this bull? Are they jumping on this wagon when it comes to tech?
So I'll chime in here. So I think this day and age, there's so many different tech companies out there. It's hard for these restaurateurs to really grasp it fully, right? So they need someone driving force behind them to really present it to them in an understandable way to where they can grasp it, understand it, identify which solution's best for them. So as long as that can be a clear message, then it should be fairly easy to grasp, but they just need a clear roadmap. Because, I mean, there's so many companies out there. It's hard for me and you, Joe, to really dive
No, absolutely. And even just, the last 3 years, the re-emergence of the QR code that we all thought was a cool marketing fad that died. Right now, there's dozens of companies that are riffing on just the use of the QR code.
1994, they came out of QR code, and nobody really cared much about
that was a
Subsidiary of Toyota.
greatest comeback of all time, other than Zoom, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't call it a Zoom comeback as much as a Zoom launch. Like the number of people that actually used Zoom before the pandemic was minuscule.
Yeah.
If you were working for a global company, you got used to it, but then it just exploded, right? But on the tech side, Jimmy, you're absolutely correct about the slowness to adopt.
Yeah.
Growing up in the restaurant industry myself, trying to convince my father and uncle to introduce technology, the first POS platform that we brought in. I mean, I'm lucky I'm still alive after some of those conversations. They were so resistant to the concept because they didn't trust it, right? And so prior to the pandemic, I would have said there's still a lot of people that are really pushing hard not to have too much technology. Those last 3 years have proven that without technology, we just can't exist. And more importantly, the data that technology gives you. And so Ben is absolutely correct. The tech stack today for any restaurant, be it a single unit operator or a nationwide chain, is critical, but it's incredibly difficult to conceptualize what are the things that you actually need. And a lot of the partners Ben has brought in provide more comprehensive solutions and counseling and consultancy services to figure out what that's going to be. Because I think we are still on a road to get there. We're not quite there yet. But that's why the work Ben's doing is going to be so important because he's going to bring the companies that help them get there.
What am I, I was going to say, we launched the marketplace, Boom.
Yes.
And the whole idea of launching Boom started because a lot of technology, a lot of restaurant operators were asking us questions about where do they find, where do they get, how do they know? They need an online ordering solution. They need a scheduling platform. So Boom really is a marketplace that we kind of brought out based on the need. That there's so much tech out there, and how do you know which is the right path? So just being able to go to a central place with over 400 or 500 technology companies broken down by category, so you can now kind of find them all in one place and and see who are the best in class.
Yeah. So I will say this, and one thing that stuck with me that you've told me over the years, tech is not there to replace anything. It's there to supplement your business operations. And I think if we can make that resonate with our restaurateurs out there, that can go a long way.
Jimmy loves that the toll collecting.
My young daughter has never seen a toll booth collector. She's never seen a human collecting money at a toll booth. Never stopped and waited for a toll booth. You know what? It's tech enabled. I will say that it's always going to bring more efficiencies, or I believe if done right, we will improve the guest experience. We will improve the margins by becoming more of a tech-enabled business as opposed to a one that either is slow to embrace it or reluctant to embrace it. I will say on the Boom chat, that was such a great, I'm glad you and I know Ben is into it too. It's free to the operators. To be very clear, our business, and not so dissimilar than your own, you got to be good for the operator. And that's kind of the position we've taken. If we can help operators improve their margins, their efficiencies, their relationship with their guests, their relationship with their teams, their staffs, good things happen. So I know there are those who go kind of pierce that relationship between the operator and their guests. That's just not us. We want to make sure we deliver for operators and let them take care of their guests.
Not about surviving, it's about thriving.
No, absolutely.
Survival is not enough, it's thriving.
Well, look at just the robotics world, right? And the number of naysayers out there that are going, we're going to lose our workers. Well, first of all, we don't have enough workers today.
Yes. Right.
We have a near 1 million employee shortage across the United States right now in our industry, and we're working really hard to fix that. But in the meantime, if you have a robot that can help streamline certain things and give your prep cook, for example, more capacity to go do other things that matter, that improve the quality of the food, that improve the experience in the dining room. Those R2D2 robots look really cute as they're zipping around, but to be honest, if the server then can spend more time engaging with the customer, absolutely. So, is it mean that tomorrow all of a sudden kitchens are going to be half roboticized and dining rooms will have R2D2 robots zipping around all the time? No, but it's going to get to that point where people can go, okay, I can spend more time on the things that really make an impact on my business and on my customer's experience and builds their loyalty, and not be worrying about, who sat and chopped carrots all day long.
I got to tell you, I love it. And I want to change gears for a second.
Sure.
You know, we're at the Texas Restaurant Show. We're here. It's incredible. Let's just talk a little about, to show how incredible this event is. Let's just talk about some of the speakers, some of the heavy hitters, the industry titans, if you will, that have already spoken or will speak today. We've got Karen Stutz. We've got Jeff Alexander from Wow Wow. We got Josh Halpern, our friend from Big Chicken.
Big Chicken, baby.
And Big Sam with a big hat he just got. Yes, it looks incredible. Greg Majewski from Crave Warrior. I mean, awesome. I got a guy that's like about 100 stores now. Jeff Chandler from Hop Dotties. Saw him yesterday. Looks incredible. Got a great summer tan. Guy must play golf. Doug Woolard from Mooyah Burger. I mean, they're killing it. Brian Solar, our friend from Spot On, is here. He spoke, you know. Alex Eagle from Freebirds Burritos. I love that. I mean, it's an all-star crew. I mean, this gives you an indication.
Hey, Shatsy, you know what all those people have in common?
What?
None of them have been in my kitchen. No. No.
For good reason.
That's true. That is true. They've all been on our podcast, and they're all here at the Texas Restaurant Association show. How could we not come here?
Yes,
I mean,
our
whole
guest.
crew's here.
Well, I will say about half of them have already been on At the Table. The other half are
Nice.
on the list to join us at the Table.
Good
But
crew.
I want to call out one really special thing about the phenomenal over 60 industry leaders that have come in here to do our education sessions. You know, normally there's two different ways you've got speakers. You've either paid to bring them in, or they're vendors who are paying you to basically do an onstage infomercial.
Mm-hmm.
The 60 plus nationwide leaders in this industry who are here, all those names you just listed and more, have come here on their own. Quiet. We don't talk about the big black van. Doesn't exist. But in all seriousness, they, on their own dime and on their own time, have come down here to share their wealth of knowledge. And we couldn't be more appreciative of all of them. They are friends, they are industry colleagues, and they're some of the best people to know. So we are so proud always
what you guys are doing down here, that you can make that happen.
You know, as the finance guy of this dynamic duo, something I'm loving about the show, actually, is you guys included in the agenda, in the whole experience here, the investment boot camp. As part of your educational sessions. You know, I love hearing from all the restaurant folks, and Chatsy rolled through a few, and I know there are others, but I also say it's really important, and you guys are highlighting this, to have actionable sessions such as the boot camp. So for our listeners at home, can you share, you know, maybe a bit about the lessons learned from the boot camp, and maybe the top 5 myths when preparing to exit your business? That's what we're doing this for. We're building businesses, we're launching companies.
People never talk about selling your business.
So what about the top 5 myths when preparing to exit your business that you guys highlighted this important boot camp, which I thought was awesome?
So I want to give you just a quick background on how this all came to be. During the pandemic, we were doing a daily e-newsletter, and that e-newsletter had all the things they needed to know that had happened that day at the Capitol, or with COVID itself. And from a daily email, it's now turned into a weekly email. And so one of the feature articles in that newsletter is Morgan Stanley Wealth Management's restaurant and commodities index analysis, overall trends report. And they have been phenomenal partners of ours. They happily share that information with us so that we can then share it out with our members. It's just one of the very many educational resources and data services that they get access to by being members of the TRA. And so this is the second year that we've done this investment boot camp pre-conference session. And we had a lot of phenomenal feedback from our members. And one of their biggest questions was, would they ever be able to do anything for us around family succession planning? Because I grew up in a family restaurant for 55 years. I look across the state of Texas, and that old saying, everything's bigger, is absolutely true. You've got multi-unit companies that do over 90 million a year in business, and they're still family owned and operated. Yeah, they have a more corporate structure, but they're still there. So they have all these same things that they have to deal with. And so the morning session kind of walked everyone through all of that. The afternoon then talked about, okay, do you have the next big brand, right? Are you going to be the next Big Chicken? Are you going to be, the brand that someone like Greg decides to invest in and just explode across the country? And so I would say of the various things that were taught on Saturday, on the succession planning side, first of all, you have to have a plan. It kind of starts with that, right? And so often in a family business, They don't think about it like that. And it's not just, oh, well, mom and dad have a will and I'm going to get the business when they pass. It's like, no. You are operating in business today. So how are you going to move those different things around? And so the most important lesson I think they all learned was you have to take the emotion out of that part of the conversation. My dad and brother started the business with their sister. There were, of course, then a lot of cousins involved. And they didn't want to take the emotion out of it. They didn't want to have that conversation because they just always had we're together, we're always going to be together. And that's fine. Yeah. But you've got to be able to have that plan. So that's step number one. Number two is realizing if you're going to look for capital investment or a company like Craveworthy to come in and work with you, you got to have the right brand. And so Morgan Stanley people walked through a checklist of the things you do to assess what your business is today. Does it have the potential to be the next big thing? And you've got to be able to be introspective. You also have to be honest with yourself and say, you know what, I might be really phenomenal at making the best hamburger in the panhandle area of Texas, and I'm really well known for it. But in a space that's so saturated with businesses that serve hamburgers, is it going to be a hamburger that plays across the United States? Maybe, maybe not. And so giving everyone that little bit of a reality check and the ability to say, before you just go out there and kind of feel the letdown of a lot of no's, know internally, do you have that next big thing? And then go out there and you get the yeses. So I think that was some of the most phenomenal feedback that our operators could have gotten. And we're super appreciative to Morgan Stanley Wealth Management for doing this with us. And they're already talking about topics for next year. So if you haven't been at the TRA show before, come down and join us in San Antonio in 2024 and definitely make time to be at that boot camp.
We'll be there.
Yeah, y'all be there. Y'all are here.
Don't ever threaten us with a good
Listen, I gotta tell you, without the phenomenal podcast, without the food service feud celebrity edition, the celebrity edition live from Houston, Texas, where everything is bigger. Are you guys ready? Like we do a poll every week in LinkedIn where we ask several 100 million people to respond to a question that we ask. Generally, relating to
the numbers. We try 100 million people.
That's a couple hundred, maybe more. I don't know. I haven't checked, but it's a lot. And we're generally all about hospitality. So we've asked a couple 100 million people to answer a question, and this is Celebrity Edition. Is everybody ready to play?
I'm ready to play.
I'm ready. I got my buzzer ready.
All right, get your imaginary buzzers ready. Which celebrity got their start working in food service in Houston before becoming a celebrity? Is it Mr. Steve Martin himself? Is it Beyonce, Johnny Cash, or Farrah Fawcett? Go. Bingo.
So, just for the record, I wrote Beyonce before I even knew the four answers. Or before.
Okay, you wrote Beyonce.
I wrote Beyonce, so that's my guess. But anyway.
And Jimmy or Joe can steal, and the feud and the family's gonna be super proud. It is not Beyonce.
I was about to fall. I had a different guess. I was like, if Ben was writing the answer before he even heard the options, I was intimidated. You know, I know Johnny Cash did his stint as he got a lot of influence from shoe shine guys. I'm going with Johnny Cash.
And Joe, it's not Johnny Cash. It's not Beyonce. You can steal, make the family proud.
I'm going Steve Martin.
Ding, 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 Mr. Steve Martin worked at a Houston restaurant called the Magic Pan during his early years in the entertainment business. And I got to tell you, Jimbo, you know that company called Our Work? OurWork.com. I got to tell you, if OurWork.com was around and Steve Martin had been using that, we may never have gotten like the jerk. We never may have gotten the jerk. We may never gotten some of what was it, Planes, Trains?
We never would have gotten pizza in a cup.
We never got pizza in a cup, and there's so much
pizza in a cup.
So I got to tell you,
There's
thank
chicken in a cup.
goodness that Steve Martin got his start before OurWork.com was around.
I bet he had white hair even then. I bet he has always had the white, gray, salt, pepper.
I loved it. That was great.
All right, I was well played. So Ben and I, not so good. Joe crushed it.
We'll get
Wait. Where's my prize?
Oh, no, that's gone.
Okay, just checking.
It was in the mail.
the tequila bottle.
It wouldn't be a crystal ball moment. Sorry, it wouldn't be a podcast without a crystal ball moment. And since you've already said San Antonio, that's next year. But we come back to the show in 2 years. So in 2 years, it's probably back in Dallas. And you guys rotate San Antonio, Houston, Dallas.
You would think that.
I would think that.
But you know what happens oftentimes in a state as large as ours is a lot of cities start making plans without necessarily coordinating. So we have this phenomenal, great thing that's going to happen that in the long term is going to make for some phenomenal business in Texas. But in the short term, a little bit of pain. So Dallas, Austin, and Houston are all putting their convention centers under various degrees of construction
at the same time
for about 5 years.
Got it. Coming to New York.
So,
TRA will be going.
Texas Restaurant Show live from New York City.
Live from the Javits Center.
So we will be in San Antonio. We very likely may from San Antonio come back to Houston because of the timetable of construction. And then we're laying out the back half of the 2020s with exactly what's going to happen then. I mean, it may just be that we do our own version of Burning Man and go out into the western part of the state and just lay it all out with some tents there, and
That's the direction we're going.
maybe I'll camp out party.
That's where we're going.
When we come back to the show in 2 years, what do you think are going to be the hot topics? What will have changed? What will evolve? This is your guys' crystal ball moment. Ben, Joe, take it.
Yeah, so I think workforce struggles aren't going anywhere. I think that will still remain as top priority in our world. So I will think and imagine that there's going to be a lot of exhibitors out there that can try to provide solutions. We already currently have a lot. We just brought on a new partner called Paradox that performs in the AI recruiting space. So you're going to continue to see that more. I would say that's my crystal ball, Joe. I mean, I'll let you chime in there. But.
No, I would definitely agree with that. I think the other fun part about our industry is we could make any guesses and we're probably going to be wrong. I mean, everything changes so fast.
Sure.
And as we've just learned, 2 years is a really long time and can introduce a whole lot of change. Ben's absolutely right. Workforce, and more importantly, not just how we find them, how we bring them in, how we onboard them, how we ensure that they understand that this is one of the best industries to work in. You know, the number of Americans that at some point in their lives work at a restaurant, you don't always make that correlation that you learn certain skills that are with you for a lifetime. You learn hospitality. You learn how to critically think. Multitasking, yes. Thinking on your feet, being able to react fast. And so it's one of the things we're focused on is making sure that we can help provide all those solutions so that this is that industry where there is a place for everyone. Doesn't matter where you came from. Doesn't matter your background. Doesn't matter if you're looking to reinvent yourself, a new life, a second chance. It's here for you, but those services need to be there.
Yeah.
You got to have healthy and happy employees. So we're working on making sure that all the health and wellness benefits are there. Sure. Our current chairman and the leadership have put together a specific board subcommittee that will live now for a few years working on that. So I know we're going to see some evolution there. And hopefully, again, being the bellwether state that we are, we're going to figure out some things. We're going to tweak some things and have a best practice model that the rest of the country can adopt in that area.
I love it.
So, I think that's going to be one big thing. And then there's always going to be, what's the next biggest thing in the tech side of things? Or our beverage pavilions are amazing. There's new things rolling out all the time.
Yeah.
We've got Becker Wines here. They are a phenomenal vineyard, award-winning, Napa rivaling wines. And we're almost having like the old school Coke Pepsi challenge of, can you tell the difference between their Cabernet and a Napa Valley Cabernet? And the answer is,
delicious.
It cut you off at the table last night. You're getting a little
it was great, that blend. I love that. Oh, it was delicious. Let me tell you, I got to tell you, it's great stuff going on. But, one of the greatest segments in our podcast is the Branded Quickfire.
Just on our podcast?
Well, it's been probably every podcast in our world. Everyone knows that the Branded Quickfire is the highest rated podcast segment in all podcasts in the entire world. That's not me. That is coming right from. That's fact.
That's fact.
That's fact.
That's fact with a lot of opinion.
And doing the Branded Quickfire, Texas edition. Because it's bigger and it's better, bigger in Texas. So it wouldn't be a podcast without it. So I'm going to ask each of you 5 lightning round questions. Joe and Ben, are you ready?
Let's do it.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Joe and Ben, here you go. Joe, Dallas Cowboys or Houston Texans?
I'm going to decline to answer on my Fifth Amendment rights to not self-incriminate
Has
myself.
that ever
Do you
happened
know
before, Jimmy?
who they are, though, at their football?
Haha, funny. Yes, I do.
He's allowed to do that, but Ben had the best quip. He had the best quip.
Yeah.
Same question.
Cowboys, only because my fiance's family has season tickets, so I want to continue to go to those games.
Smart answer.
Yep.
I mean, given your fiance-
Self-preservation.
Yeah,
That's the way it goes.
Self-preservation.
Joe, favorite Texas-based movie? Is it Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure, Office Space, or Bonnie and Clyde?
Got to go back to my childhood. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I'm going with Office. And I'll be real with you, I don't know what PB's big adventure is.
See? And now you know he's from the next generation.
Texas brisket or ribs?
I think I have to go with brisket on this one.
Brisket. Joe?
I might take the fifth.
Joe's
No,
going
I'm not taking the fifth. I'm not taking the fifth on this. However, it absolutely depends on which barbecue you are at, but there's absolutely nothing like a second cut, phenomenally moist brisket from the County Line Barbecue.
Yes.
County Line.
Skeeter was awarded last night.
Sponsored by County Line Barbecue.
Yeah.
Big last night.
Favorite thing about living in Texas, Joe?
Nobody gives me shit for wearing cowboy boots. I have flat feet. I have worn boots for years, and traveling, in a multinational company, you'd go and they would all go, "So, are you a cowboy from Texas?" I'm like, "No, I live in Chicago." Why are you wearing the boots? My friends in Chicago always give me shit for it, but they're comfortable as hell. Now that I'm here, got access to the best Texas-made boots ever.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And if you do make fun of wearing cowboy boots, let's stick one of those boots up here.
Yeah, no.
Dude, bleep that out. I will have to say the open spaces, how accessible it is that, I can get out of town within 30 minutes and I'm just in wide open spaces.
Right, this is the one that usually gets us in trouble here. Joe, if you were to choose Jimmy Ryan in a game of horseshoes, who have better odds of
I need a qualifying answer to your question
why,
here.
why
Have we been at the bar beforehand?
Very good question. I say let's make that.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
Shotzi
Yeah.
because then I know the answer would be yes.
You
So
think you have a better chance of beating Chad than beating me?
because I know we were gonna have been at the bar beforehand,
Yes.
so yes, I have a better chance of beating
Yes.
him.
Yes, if we're in the bar board. Ben, Jimmy Ryan, who would beat horseshoes? I don't know why horseshoes. That's what our producer
Yeah,
told me. Fantastic.
I think probably you. I feel like Jimmy's pretty good at horseshoes.
Yeah.
I think he got more oomph.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I think this question was teed up. There's been so many recently, regarding like rock climbing. There's been hopscotch. There's been a lot of events where Chatsy's his wiriness is beating me. If we're playing a game of horseshoes,
And we're
first of all, I am gonna have better oomph than Chats. B, he will lose interest so fast. He'll be like distracted. We'll be playing the game. He'll be like, "Is it my turn?" No, I think you're right. Safe bet. I think you guys both have a better chance of beating Chatsy.
Last question. This is to you, Jimmy.
Oh.
Jimmy, as an operator in this market, you have to look for an edge. You got to get an edge. Am I right?
Right.
Okay. Well, let me tell you something. There is a report out there. Okay, there's a report out there that helps us get that edge. Okay, our work has the QSR wage report. Okay. It is free and it features data from 100,000 quick service jobs.
First time you called an honest number.
In over 900,000 zip codes around the country, including Texas, the great Texas.
Correct
There's a lot of
numbers
zip codes out there. Our work's easy to use software can double your applicant flow, increase retention by 30%. Our work serves nearly 8,000 restaurants across brands like McDonald's, McDougal's, Domino's, and lots of other really big brands too, Jimmy. So to get your free report, Jimmy, you know what you do?
Was that the question? I wasn't sure when you were getting the question. I don't know what you do. What do you do?
Let me tell you.
What do you tell me?
QSRwages.com. And with the code podcast, Jimmy, it's not even free. It's special free. It's super duper free. You know what that means?
Means it's free and they said thank you no.
Yes. So go check out
It is free.
QSRwages.com.
Free for everybody.
It's all been sponsored by OurWork.com. They are very good friends. And I got to tell you, we got to get to the Texas Restaurant Show next year.
Yes.
OurWork.com and the Texas Restaurant Association must be working together. Am I right?
Let's make it happen.
OurWork.com.
What does it touch him?
What is the touch?
They hired him to do their jingle singing.
They're trying to pay us down and stop.
They're
gonna stop.
They're
trying to stop.
Yeah, anyway, Jimbo, back
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you. Joe and Ben, sincerely, not just thanking you for doing the podcast or us doing our respective podcasts together, but for the great work that you and the TRA is doing for the industry. When Shats and I started Branded on the hospitality venture side, we have a restaurant company, but our thought and our idea and our commitment was we would only do good things for operators, and we want to contribute to the industry that we love. And I will have to tell you, I think one of the reasons why we're having so much fun together with you guys in the TRA is you guys exude that in spades. So congratulations to you guys, everything you're doing, you'll continue to do, and we look forward to being part of this journey with you guys. If you guys want to get in touch with Joe or Ben directly, season 1 faux pas was giving out cell phones. We don't do that anymore. We learned our lesson. We're cagey veterans now.
Thank you.
Yes, but if you email the podcast team at podcast@brandedstrategic.com, we'd be happy not just to connect you and make an introduction, but we really recommend that folks throughout the country lean in to these great folks here out in Texas. And to our listeners, just a final shout out. We couldn't be doing this and expanding our podcast without your support and the viewership. Chatsy might make fun that we've got 8 of you, but the truth is, it is an incredible amount of
You're over the 50,000 listeners a month, Jimmy.
Yes, and that Chatsy
Now
is the third number.
54,000.
It's the third number
No,
you got.
50,000.
We went from 8 to 50,000.
Yes,
Where were we
it's a
at?
big jump.
Right?
It was a good show. But sincerely, to Joe, to Ben, to Emily, and to your whole team, we want to thank you for including us in our first, and we will absolutely be continuing as long as we didn't burn the
I
right to come
saw
back.
Jimmy last night at table 46, and I walked over to him, and he was listening to the band.
That was me.
It was terrific.
Yeah, Jackie.
Yes,
I saw Jimmy over there, and he was listening, and he was tearing. He was tearing. He was the song with the
Sentimental
Beatles
there.
about
Songs
family.
about his dad. He was thinking about his dad. I gotta tell you, I love country music.
I didn't know he loved country music like this.
I love that, Jimmy.
Yeah,
That's
so
nice.
guys,
He was loving it.
So thank you guys very much. This is Jimmy Frischling, your finance guy, with appreciation to our friends Joe and Ben and the entire TRA for including us. I'll pass it back to you, Shaq.
Thank you, Chatsy restaurant guy, and I got to tell you, At the Table with TRA, great podcast. Check it; it's where all podcasts are served and sold. You can find that anywhere you need. And if you want a good read, hospitalityheadline.com. Go check it out. Because my friend Jimmy Frisch, not only does he love country music and has a little soft spot and gets all teary-eyed, he's a great writer. And I got to tell you, he writes the weekly newsletter every week, hospitalityheadline.com. Check it out. And it's a great read. Every Saturday morning comes out. So anyway, signing off. Chatsy, Hospitality Hangout. Signing off, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you.
Take them.